Welcome to Guildford, a town of 80,000 inhabitants on the edge of the Surrey Hills. It's got a castle, a university, and a cathedral, but they're not what I'm going to talk about today. Instead, let me point you in the direction of the Royal Grammar School, established in the 16th century and still in operation today. It's this school that has an inextricable and extremely special link with cricket, coming courtesy of a testimony from a coroner by the name of John Derrick, concerning a parcel of land where he and divers of his fellows did run and play at cricket and other plays. A mundane record, perhaps, but one brimming with cricketing historical significance. Let's see why. Let's say you want to figure out where cricket came from, the definitive origin point. Finding the undisputed beginning of cricket is a murky business, full of conjecture and sparse on definitive answers. What is clear is that cricket began to be more frequently mentioned in the historical record around the 17th century, as a village sport in places like Surrey, Kent, and Sussex. Looking around at other records from the same time, we begin to see the mention of many other village games similar to cricket. The idea of a sport designed around hitting an object was by no means unique. Games like stool ball, rounders, and tipcat were all prevalent in various areas of England, alongside the mysterious club ball, perhaps an early bat and ball game, or maybe a generic term for a spectrum of similar games. Eric Burley's A Social History of English Cricket says that Edward III banned this club ball in 1369. But I can't find any source for this ban in the book, and sources that mention it elsewhere only cite Burley's book. Nevertheless, bat and ball games of some description were certainly being played as early as the 14th century. A manuscript now held at Oxford's Bodleian Library, dated to 1344 and originating from modern-day Belgium, depicts monks and nuns playing such a game at the bottom of one of the pages. It might be tempting to make the conclusion that cricket must have been derived from one or more of these early bat and ball games, or that all of these similar pastimes had a common ancestor. But records are so scarce that a definitive link is impossible to prove. To get a more concrete idea of cricket's starting point, we will have to look elsewhere. We can perhaps start to look at the earliest references to cricket being played in written history. In 1300 we see a mention of Krieg, or perhaps Crick, as a game being played by the 16-year-old Prince Edward, the future Edward II. Could this possibly have been the first time cricket was referenced in writing? In their History of Cricket, H.S. Altham and E.W. Swanton opined that Crick could be a shortening of cricket, but in the end this is nothing more than speculation. There seem to be no other mentions of Crick in the historical record. Indeed, it's hard to find any other references to cricket as a game being played in the decades surrounding the date of this Edwardian anecdote. There are 15th and 16th century appearances of cricket and kings of crickets, the latter being used as evidence that cricket is a game of Flemish origin. As intriguing as these records are, it's difficult to know whether they're connected to the modern sport of cricket, or if they're even referencing sport at all. We move forward and return to our friend John Derrick the coroner, his testimony, and the Royal Grammar School in Guildford. During a land ownership case, Derrick told a Guildford court that he and his friends played cricket when he was a student of the Free School, as the Royal Grammar School was then called. With the testimony being dated to 1598, and Derrick aged 59 at the time of the case, it can be deduced that his juvenile cricketing antics would have taken place around the 1550s. In amongst all the records that might be connected to cricket, such as crick and the club ball, it stands as the earliest record that we can more or less definitively say is indeed referencing the sport. It's now preserved in writing at the Surrey History Centre in Woking. Therefore, while it's unlikely cricket actually originated from this place in Guildford, if you're looking for any kind of definite starting point, before T20s, internationals, county sides, and even before straight bats and overarm bowling, then the Royal Grammar School is perhaps the most plausible location. Thank you for watching.